And here we go. This is always the fun part. I wish the Zoom connection to YouTube was actually accurate as far as the timing is concerned, because it seems like you're on and then
There's a
you're not.
lag.
Going live. Exactly. Okay. So here we go. Let
Live. I like how
me.
you say that. I love how you say that, going live.
Thank you. All right. Well, I just closed the window I needed, but that's okay. You know what? Here's the thing. We're going to just start out of the gate. And Mercury retrograde has such a bad rap, truly. I mean, I feel like everyone blames everything that goes wrong on Mercury retrograde during the time period, and even when it isn't Mercury retrograde. But I will say, and I even have a Mercury in retrograde in my natal chart, which actually in theory is easier because it's a comfortable energy. This particular Mercury in retrograde has been challenging. And maybe it's because it's occurring during eclipse season. I don't know, but I'm curious if anybody watching has had this experience. Technology not cooperating.
Well, it's also Cazimi with the sun at the same time. So it makes it much stronger when it's in Cazimi.
Oh, good point. Very good point.
And Chiron, Chiron, Mercury, and the sun all together, clump.
Kaboom, kaboomba. Well, and then traveling, just the traffic and then the aggression on the road here in South Florida is next level. I'm not really sure what's going on, but I've been sending messages to my family and to my friends, be careful on the roads, take your time, don't be in a rush. It's crazy out there, people. Crazy. So anyway, hello, Amalia, Natalio, and Madeline Parker here with you today for the cosmic chat for this upcoming Scorpio full moon, which is occurring on April 23rd at 7:48 p.m. Eastern. That would be 4:48 p.m. Pacific. And it's at 4 degrees, 17 minutes. Okay. I'm going to start out like we normally do on these cosmic chats. I'm going to give a little summary, a little rundown of what I'm seeing and experiencing as it pertains to the moon. And then Madeline is going to run with it and share all of the info that is supportive for us for each of the signs. And I'll be sharing supportive flower energy to anchor in that, and also as a remedy for whatever might be coming up for that particular sign. So, Scorpio. This is already for me. I personally am a Scorpio ascendant. This full moon is squaring my natal moon. I am feeling the emotions of this moon coming up already.
What degree is your ascendant?
It's a little off. So it's at 14. So this is not, it's about 10 degrees off, but I definitely am feeling it. The eclipses, which were, what was that now? 6 months ago, 12 months ago, were right on my ascendant. So I was feeling all of that. So I feel like there's still this acclimation period that's occurring. And what's interesting, I also looked up the Scorpio new moon occurred on November 13th in 2023. So 6 months ago. And it's an interesting inquiry to go back. And I did this before getting on today because I wanted to be able to speak to this from my own personal experience. I went back to look at my journal to see what was going on at that time and what has changed since then. Is there a completion that's taken place? Because right now at a full moon, it's a completion time. And what I noticed was that there were some significant health challenges that were happening at the time that I wouldn't say are completely sorted, but they're nothing like they were before. So I would say there is a bit of a tying up the bow on that. I was definitely in a very emotionally challenged space and time 6 months ago. And I feel like even though there are emotional challenges, they're manageable emotional challenges. In November, it felt a lot bigger than now. So the reason I bring that up is for folks who are maybe feeling like, boy, geez, like I feel like I've been run over again and again and again for a period of time, which I can relate to, and I think a lot of us can relate to. If you have any sort of journaling practice, or even if you look back at photos and you see where you were 6 months ago, it'll ignite or spark your memory of things that happened and how far you've come in that amount of time. Because there is a shift and a change that's taking place for all of us. So because of this Scorpio full moon, there's a deep emotional space being created. There's also the highlighting that full moon, showing you where you might need to make changes, and you may feel resistance to those changes. We've got a lot of planetary energy in Pisces, Aries, and Taurus. Madeline, I'm sure we'll be talking about that and showing everyone. We have a gigantic Uranus-Jupiter conjunction happening on the 20th, right before this full moon. So there's a lot of cosmic energy that is encouraging us, maybe in some cases forcing us to make some changes. You might have these surface type relationships that will fall away. So if there's not a deep connection within some of your relationships that aren't feeling super fulfilling, they may disappear. And you might notice you have a strong desire for emotional connections. I mean, I know for me, I'm really reaching out to and making an effort with those people in my life that I really want to keep a strong bond with. Now, the sun and the moon are square Pluto. Okay, Pluto, I think Pluto gets a little bit of a bad rap, but Pluto's energy is transformative. It is something you likely feel or that you notice. And so with that in mind, be aware of any emotions that come up that might run away with you a little bit, and try to avoid extreme arguments. So like if you feel really strongly about something and you can feel like, and maybe Madeline could talk to the Mars influence here, feel like there's something that's activating you, instead of lashing out at someone or feeling like you have to prove that you're right or say something about it, think about it as an inner process to come within and create a dialogue with yourself of reflection around what's coming up and why it's coming up, and a course of action that could be transformative, Pluto, for your relationships between yourself and those around you. So kind of a couple of action steps. Look at what was happening last year on November 13th, 2023, when we had the Scorpio new moon, because you'll likely see some culminations, and be aware of just some deep emotions that might surface right now with the Scorpio new moon that's happening next week. And I think that's pretty much it as far as I have is in around the Scorpio new moon energy. And, the one thing that really jumped out at me was the Pluto square, because, it was square the moon and square the sun. And so that's a significant, that feels like a very significant energy for people to be aware of. Squares create that tension. We may not like it, we may not want it, but it's something that we need. So Madeline, take it away.
Let's jump in on this one. Interesting, very interesting time this. Yep, because Pluto is the ruler of this full moon, but so is Mars. And we have so much happening in Aries, which is ruled by Mars still. And we have this Pluto is currently in the degree point of where the great Saturn conjunction happened in 2020, December 21. So, and now like you're saying, we've got the square here, and this is a Mars ruled full moon. So it's going to be action based. It's going to be, and Mars is out of combustion with Saturn now, which means its energies are no longer repressed or being held back. So we're kind of opening up here into an action energy of movement. And the eclipse was ruled by Mars and it was with Saturn, so it was a sort of delaying. That's why a lot of people haven't felt some of these transits or some of these transitions yet that eclipse is going to bring. And we also have, at the same time, as you mentioned, the Jupiter-Uranus conjunction, which is absolutely very much still happening during this full moon. So I'll put this story together for you all. So with the Pluto position there at the 0 degrees, what we're looking at is anyone or any trajectory that we've been on that is not aligned with the Saturn conjunction. And Jupiter is your calling, Saturn career coming together. So we are all in the age of Aquarius stepping up to our true astrological chart, which is our true calling, our dharma. And so this full moon brings us into what I call oppositional action. Why is it oppositional? Because you say there's a square, and oppositional means our ego. This is more of the same theme of the eclipse, where our mind in some level, now this involves the moon, so it's emotional, it's a full moon, so there would be an emotional, and I think I remember you mentioning there was an emotional component that you were feeling about this whole thing. So there's an emotional attachment, fear-based, that's Pluto, where we don't believe in God or our higher selves, or we don't believe in the universe protecting us. So some people may find this hard because there may be some emotional attachment to things that we need to release. You could use the analogy of a baby with the pacifier. The pacifier must be taken away now. And the baby does not like it. And you have to go through a good long time where the baby cries without the pacifier. But now the baby is no longer dependent on a external thing for security, and they find internal security. And that's what this is all about. We're finding a divine stabilization. So we're developing more, we're trusting more. We're letting go, and we're trusting in this full moon, and we're taking actions in alignment opposite than what we feel, but not for everybody. Probably Scorpio are going to feel it more. And also this is happening during the Uranus Jupiter conjunction. So it's going to be hard for anyone to know if it's the full moon or if it's Uranus Jupiter, unless you look at your chart. But there's an emotional, fear-based. This is almost the other part of the eclipse that didn't get done. In other words, the other eclipse, the Aries eclipse on April 8th, was our ego. Now this full moon in Scorpio is going to transformation, the emotional out of alignment. And emotional attachments, fear-based attachments to what we think, and again, this is an emotional energy that we have an emotional dependence on, that we feel emotionally is our security. Because very much Scorpio is the energy of not, on a subconscious level, not believing in a God or the universe or our protection or our safety. And so, you know, in the eighth house in someone's chart, which is the house of Pluto, if you see planets there, like for instance, you see Venus in your eighth house, that person is going to make subconsciously their spouse their God. They're going to make their salvation. If you have Jupiter in your eighth house, you make some form of religion your God, or some form of other spiritual thing, or you don't really believe in the universe protecting you, and all of us have that on some level. So in this full moon, something comes into, shall we say, materialization. But again, this is action based. We're going to look at both houses ruled by Mars in this report, and it's the action that takes us to the new direction, and it does involve releasing something emotionally that we have been somewhat leaning on, which is part of this whole theme. It's happening throughout the month anyway. We have to go forward to a new future here, that we leave things behind. And you know, Pluto is and Scorpio is death and rebirth. So there can be people leaving during this time in our family. You know, it happens, as part of life. And then we have there's a rebirth in our life too from all of this. So there's going to be a rebirth on the other side of this. And to go ahead, have an emotions are not bad. And Scorpio is very deep emotions, and emotions that are hidden in your subconscious. Scorpio rules everything that is not seen. It is the underworld. So there could be some buried stuff coming up for transformation, that this full moon will basically put us through by removal. But then we have a rebirth, and then there's a new birth, there's a new empowerment. Pluto is about our power, our being empowered. So whatever we're releasing was not our, like a baby with a pacifier. The baby is not fully in his own center of emotional stability. In other words, doing it for himself or doing it for yourself. So in other words, this full moon in this Pluto full moon annihilates a fear that is stopping us from being fully in our power. So whatever, on the other side of this full moon, we are stepping into a much more empowered situation. for instance, if you have Scorpio over your 7th house, you're going to be pulling your power back from a relationship. You're going to stop giving. But again, it might be that the relationship behaves in a way that you have to pull your power back. So there could be some kind of an upset in that relationship. But ultimately, the other side of this is better. The transformation, the birth that we become on the other side of this, releasing an attachment, is empowering. It puts us back into our divine power. That's the point, because we're not of much use on the shall we say, our dharmic path, if we're not stepping forward boldly in our Mars energy towards the destiny, if we're being held back by an emotional fear or codependency or an emotional fear-based attachment to something. So that will be rattled out of our subconscious, out of our psyche body. So Scorpio full moons can be upsetting, because you're going to meet a fear. You can come face to face with some kind of a fear that you then discover is irrational. But the fear sometimes plays out so you can see that it's irrational. Now, I understand why some people might go through tremendous fear around this full moon, because, well, I shouldn't say tremendous fear, but I don't mean to exaggerate, but a little bit of a shakeup inside your psyche because of this, because of the Uranian Jupiter conjunction here. So not only are we connecting with some fear-based, trauma-based attachments that take us out of our power in this Pluto square that is stopping us from stepping into our full empowered destiny, which is to all collectively come together and step into our true purpose, which many people fear will not sustain, but we will see in this full moon will sustain. Because Pluto is the planet of the riches in Vedic, which can be sudden. And by the way, this is a very abundant potential sudden financial windfall for many people. So some financial fears might be completely eliminated for many people. I mean, we are stepping into much more abundant times financially. We're coming out of a rough chapter money-wise, and we're entering into a better financial future, better financial chapter.
So, hey, Natalie, really quickly, I want to ask you a question about that. So, because I know
Sure.
this is a huge theme coming up for many of my clients around the money,
Okay.
abundance. So you're talking about how the Jupiter-Uranus conjunction could potentially be really positive for a lot of people in a financial regard. Do you have a kind of a framework or a guideline of specific signs and specific degrees that people can look at? So if they have, like,
Sure.
what can people look at to see if that will positively affect them?
Yep. Of course, any planets you have around 21, 19, 20, 21, 22, or 18 degrees of a fixed sign, you're going to get a square to this. So you're going to feel it very much. Your life really will change. There really will be it. And it's possible there's a crisis, but I don't know. I'm thinking it looks pretty darn good for a square in this. If you have planets in Capricorn at that degree point, fabulous, amazing. It's a trine. Or in Virgo, it's a trine, as big grand Earth trine. That would be very powerful. If you have that, oh my gosh, you're really in for a good surprise. Because this energy of Uranus is surprising. It's out of the blue. You don't expect it on some level. Your life will, most people's lives will take a whole new turn during these energies. I've been seeing it in my readings. People are just either quitting jobs and new things coming in, or just a lot of liberating from situations that have felt very stagnant and death. I mean, that's that Pluto energy, that Scorpio energy, something that's deaf and not live anymore, that needs to just go, like rotting. It's a part of in our life that's like, it's just no longer really moving and growing anymore. And so we need to sort of move away from there and do the new growth, the new birth. And so, trines and sextiles to this, fabulous. And even a square might be okay. Now, worst case scenario, there's a crisis in this. It can be a square, but it's again something that has been, if there is some sort of crisis, like I had a Scorpio square to my Saturn, and a debt completely was erased. So I got money from a land sale. So it's like, it can be very, very positive. So the most important thing is to have faith and trust on the other side of anything that's going on during this, and know that you're just being redirected, course corrected. Things need to change. Something needs to change. Something needs to be gone so that your abundance can come through.
And sometimes that does have to come through the discomfort of a crisis in order to move you. You know, I mean, a lot of the people that I work with, they've come to a point where, not all, but many, where they're like, I don't know what else to do. I'm really at my wit's end. And
it's like the darkest before the dawn.
Yes. Yeah. And it's like, and I find it so funny with human nature that we need to be battered about before we actually do something. We don't, just like we know the things we need to do, but we often don't until we absolutely have to. And at that point, we're pretty beaten up.
Yep.
So I don't know why it's so hard.
This is exactly what happened to me in my Scorpio full eclipse, actually, my 5th house. My ex-husband was late on some taxes. It wasn't a lot. It was like $1,000 or something. And and it wasn't fair. We had paid it. It was from 2016. So it was like really weird. It came out and they shut my account down in California, or they took it all out of my account or whatever. And I had to change my account because I didn't want to deal with that account anymore. So it forced me to open up an account in the town that I'm living in. Oh my God, that was crazy. I should have done it years. I should have done it right away, because I was always having to drive down to Coeur d'Alene. It was just ridiculous. So it was like that full moon or eclipse, made me do it.
Yep.
Exactly. And it was a fear. I don't know why I had a fear to change my account here. I don't know what that was.
Well, maybe it could be too. It's like once you do something like that, you're planting roots somewhere, and that in and of itself can be really scary for people.
Hitting it right on the nail, because I wasn't sure that I was going to stay here at all. I wasn't quite and so the universe said, no, you're staying. So you're going to change everything. And oh my gosh, I can't tell you how, it's like right across the street. I just do everything. I just bounce back and forth. And I'm like, why didn't I do that right away?
So this is great. So people can, I guess the message I would love for people to take away is, even if something does happen in your life that feels really challenging, or that looks on the surface. I mean, anytime any of us get something from the IRS, I think there's a moment of like,
oh my gosh, it was like,
so yeah. So just take a beat, take a minute, take a breath, and know that whatever is happening, even if it feels really, really, really scary, that it's moving you towards something better, something that,
for a reason.
Yes. Yep. And with Jupiter involved, it's going to be expansive, you know, for sure.
Yep. I mean, the only warning would be to not, with Jupiter, this is a Mars ruled, and it's not making any exact aspect. Well, actually, I take that back. Mars is sextiling. Look at this. Mars is sextiling kind of at a wider, but it's there. And that's a nice energy. So you want to flow. It's in water. Mars is water. So we want to flow intuitive, step into our intuition.
Yeah.
Earth sign is very intuitive. I'm telling you, these Earth people are super intuitive. My dad is like Gemini and Aquarius rising, and he has a moon in Taurus, and he's so mental, but then he pops into that really intuitive. And I'm like, Daddy, you're super intuitive. You don't want to. Anyway. So we're going to we want to flow, water, flow, earth, intuitive, ride this change through the intuitive, seeing what's opening up, you know, where to move to get out of the way, or, you know, but that's a positive energy. That's nice that Mars is sextiling all of this during this full moon, because it is being ruled. So in other words, that's the thing. You see, you don't want to know something really interesting? When that happened when I had to change banks, when I got to the other bank, I had a new account. They gave me all this credit. Like, it was like the sextile, the door was wide open. It was the best bank, and it was everything. Like, they gave me this credit card for this 0 interest credit. It was like all this stuff came.
It couldn't have been any more.
Yeah, it was
like
a
gift,
you know. So I was just like, wow. So there's a sextile. So remember, when there's a square, usually some kind of a block or door gets shut, and then the sextile is where the door is open. So the more you are out of the focus on what isn't happening, and more focusing on looking for that sextile, where's the open door, because that's where you're supposed to go, and you will be universally supported through that sextile. you know, and again, it does involve action. Sometimes sextiles, people don't do stuff and they're a bit lazy and they don't act. But with a Mars sextile, I think there's a flow in action, a little bit of a intuitive, not even like you're not even really aware that you're just kind of wandering somewhere and then you do it, or you just kind of feel an intuitive push to go somewhere and you do it. You listen to that right now. And then there's a door that opens for you and you're like, whoa, that's great. This is where I'm supposed to go. So these you know, astrology is doing better for us what we can do for ourselves. And it wants us, well, we're collectively evolving to a whole new era. And so we're, you know, if we don't align with that, we're going to be aligned with that in these energies.
Exactly. So let's flow with that and see what Aries has in store.
All right, let me get to that. Put Aries on the first house here. Which way am I going to go? Let's see. Oh, darn it. What's going on here? Okay, sorry. Let me just get.
So while Madeline is doing that, I want to just give a little plug to Madeline and have people go check out her new and improved website, Soul Levels. Isn't it soullevels.com?
Yeah, soullevels.com. Yeah, and it has my name there as well, so you can use my name or soullevels.com. But thank you, Amalia.
So go, please do check it out. It makes it super simple to set up an appointment and to get information, and it's really great. I'm just super excited for her because it's something that she's been putting out there for a while. Like, this is something she really wanted to do and desired, and now it's here and it's phenomenal. And I'm just so proud of her and so excited for her. So go check it out.
Thank you, Amalia. I'll put the link on the bottom for everyone if they want it. Thanks, Amalia.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Yeah, so Aries, I mean, what are we going to say about Aries? Oh my gosh. I mean, have an eclipse in your first house with this full moon Scorpio. So where is that going to be? That's going to be in your 8th house, right?
Oh, wow.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's a relationship. That's joint resources, joint partnership resources. Could be that you suddenly get a loan. You get, this is a windfall energy, you know. This could be money coming in, an inheritance. Someone passes away, you get an inheritance. Big fear. This is a big full moon in your 8th house could rattle you to your bones around money, and then you're going to discover you didn't need to be afraid. So something could come up that triggers you. There's a deep fear could get triggered, but it's to heal it. It's to pull it out. It's to get it out of your psyche body, release it out of your energy field. And it might be what spurs you, because this is this full moon that spurs you, that makes you take action. Like I took action to go to the bank, right? So it spurs you to either step into a relationship and joint resources, or to take on some kind of investment. Like somebody I was doing a reading for in her husband's chart, her husband's house, or in the 7th house, was all this massive changing, and he was thinking of investing. He must be Aries. So you take, or you start an investment, which then liberates you, because remember, this is all happening, Uranus and Jupiter in the picture. So a lot of these things take you to take action, which then liberates you financially, because maybe the Jupiter conjunction Uranus is happening, but you're not taking the action to open that door for it to come in. But maybe it's going to open that door to come in through this full moon in Scorpio, through your 8th house, by joint resources, investing in property, real estate, or some form of investment that you initiate, which will do very well for the long haul. Or an investment comes in. Maybe this Jupiter Uranus isn't as scary as we all think in the mass market world, and some investment really does kind of go boom for you. But also we got to look at the relationship maybe ending a joint resourcing with someone that is straining your finances. Maybe you have an investment that isn't good, that isn't working, and you get rid of it, but then that frees you up for a better investment. Or a relationship falls apart and you sever your joint resources, but now you're not wasting your money in a situation that isn't working out with someone. And sometimes in other part of your chart, you're ending your relationship. So now you're ending your joint resources, and suddenly you have more resources for yourself or something to invest. But 8th house is not easy. I'm going to say you're going to get rattled. And it may be what spurs you to take on some sort of financial venture, which then liberates you, which then eliminates that concern. What did you get?
Okay, so we have the red bird of paradise. Hopefully everyone can see that for Aries. And this flower really reminds me, it's almost like an italics or a bold to Aries energy. So it's reminding Aries who they really are. So the message is focus, get it done. So Aries are really good at that, unless they're in a place of fear or doubt or worry or concern or
Which will come up.
exactly.
Sure.
Yes. So this feels like a reminder for Aries to harness their passion, access that motivation that lies within them, and move forward on things that they do feel passionate about.
It's interesting. Yeah, I think this is the full moon, which really spurs Aries to take action.
Yeah.
Which I happen to know some that might step into action about something important.
Oh, yes. I think I know who you mean. And yeah, we shall see.
I'll pull a card on that. All right. So Taurus. Well, this is going to be interesting because that, well, you've got this full moon in your 7th house. So first of all, you got the Uranus Jupiter conjunction in your 1st house. So, that's a wild card. Your life's about to change in a radical way and liberating you. And Taurans are very stable, really up and at it type of people. They tend to be very reserved in their actions. So this may change really radically for Taurans. They may be spurred into some sort of new direction in their life that is, everybody will go, wow, they really changed. They're really going a new way. They're being more liberated, more free, more okay to not be so stuck in their ways. So they're going to be more risk taking. That's the other thing about a Scorpio. I forgot to add this about the Scorpio full moon. We're going to be taking more risks because once that fear is eliminated and you go through that purging, we could be experiencing a lot of purging of fears. But once that risk is gone, that fear is gone, there's more faith in risk. And the 8th house says you take risks, it will work out. I can guarantee that because I've done that. So I say astrologically guided risks. Intelligent risks, emotionally, intuitively aligned risks. So Taurans are going to become completely liberated, completely different, risk-taking. Now, a full moon in their relationship can end or bring a co-creative project with partnership. Now, if you're in the wrong relationship, like you mentioned, in these energies, bye-bye, most likely. But that's better because then you have space for your right person and they have space and now are opened up for their right person. So that's what we want. We want to be with our right person, as painful and crisis that it could be to go through. So a transformation also in your person of relationship, because if you have something happening, something really good could happen to your person in your relationship. Something is in major fruition with them. And it's very abundant with these energies. So something very abundant could happen to your person. What do you get?
Well, we have the Royal Poinciana, and we've got some similar colors so far here showing up in the flowers. And okay, so again with this to me feels like this energy of expansion. With this flower, there's a focused energy here that feels kind of creative and pure in a way, and connected to your like your solar plexus or your sacral chakra. It's like it's that place of birthing something new in your life. But it's got this expansive energy, which might be the Jupiter Uranus, but there's the surprise that comes in. There's a little bit of a surprise. And the message
especially of all people,
Taurus, that would, yes, exactly. But this activates your convictions. So maybe in a relationship, it's important for you to ask for what you want in order to see if the relationship is sustainable, or you can find a way through. Or if you do ask for what you want and the other person is adamantly opposed, is not willing to to come to the table to meet you, then that's pretty clear. So whatever that might be for you, yeah, it feels like a lot of surprise. There's some surprises. Like Taurus will be surprised.
Yeah.
They might even be surprised by how they engage with this energy, how they respond to it, and what they do within their relationships and within their life. I don't think it's just relationships. This feels even bigger than that. So,
Oh yeah, absolutely. Well, that picture really brings to my mind a breaking out of that stuck fear,
yeah.
kind of like going, I'm done. Like, I bet you many Taurans have been like, are in a situation, because what happens with Taurus is they get a little bit bored. They create so much stability and they get kind of bored. And then all of a sudden you're going to see Taurus just go, "Get out of here. I quit." You could suddenly quit a job, move, bust out, go traveling. Just suddenly you're just going to break free from
Yeah.
the Taurans are just the most non-like that people.
But that may emerge right now. I mean, we
Yeah.
have some
Oh,
pretty significant energy on them.
yeah, I
So,
think it's bigger than a May.
well, one of my sons is a Taurus sun, and I'm excited for him at the potential of this busting out and doing something new. And I'm excited to see where that invitation comes from for him and what
Yeah.
might be inspiring for him to explore and to look at something new and different.
Yeah. I'm going to be really watching all the Taurans I know. I'm going to be like spying on them, and they're
Glued to their
I
social
know
media
they're
or
going to be
whatever.
totally different after this,
Yeah. Yeah. So funny. All right. What about Gemini?
Gemini. All righty. Geminis. Oh gosh, I'm like, okay, so Gemini, you guys have Mars. I want to look at your both houses ruled by Mars. So you have your Aries house as the 11th house, which is awesome. Awesome. Then you're going to have Pluto in your ninth, and you're going to have Scorpio in your boom where is Scorpio? Where
Six.
where does Thank you. Sixth house. There it is. So yeah, interesting. So health issues could come up that need to be let me look at the Taurus house. Oh, 12th house. Wow, interesting. Gemini. Well, basically release of a karmic fear that's causing stress or issues in your health. Because there's going to be some sort of trauma, past life trauma. That's the other thing you got to remember about the Scorpio energy is it's past life trauma and it's trauma. So we're going to be, and with that Chiron, everything happening in your 11th house, which is really good fortune. And then we've got this full moon in your 12th house. So it's almost like the life of the Gemini is going to expand to a place that meets the wall of their trauma that would block it. So, and the universe is going forward. You don't have a choice. So you're going to deal with a past life trauma that has been the source of an illness, which will now be healed and released and will be transformed into healed. So it can play out in either quitting an addiction, starting a health routine, starting to exercise. Remember, this is very transformative. You will be transformed by this. So let's say you haven't been working out. Now you start doing muscles. Remember, Mars, you're going to start working out and build muscle mass and get your health going, proactive. And then people are going to look at you and go, whoa, you've completely transformed. And so, yeah, because you've got Taurus, you're going to have this, the sun is in your 12th. So this is going to be a time of introspection, a little bit of introverted period, because you're going to have the sun in your first house soon. So usually when we have our solar return coming up, we tend to be a little bit more introvert and go quiet and to ourselves for a while. So we reconnect before we go active mode in that first house. And so basically Gemini are finding a healing practice and new way. And also they're going to stop living a way that causes stress in their life. They're waking up to this fear-based pattern where they live in a way that creates stress. So something could open up for them that they have some sort of awakening around, and they now operate in a way, or they change their career depending what else is going on, because I think that Saturn is in your 10th house. Because this is very karmic for them, because they've got Jupiter and Uranus in their 12th house. So it's like you're setting yourself free from a karmic purging, a karmic fear or trauma that has been causing illness in your life, or frustration or fear-based energies that cause you to operate in a stressful way.
Well, so here we go, Gemini. The pink primrose message is fearless readiness.
Wow.
So I feel like it's a great summary of what you were just saying. And it activates rapid growth, and the messages make it effortless. So anytime, it feels to me like anytime Gemini are kind of going back and forth and waffling, it's like, just be in the flow of it, be in the ease of it, know that you're ready for whatever it is. And it doesn't have to be hard. Just let it flow. So the pink primrose for Gemini.
Yes, and the Mars sextiling Jupiter in your 12th house. This is a career. I think it's, you know what, interesting. I really do think that Geminis are going to operate now in a career, because they're going to do very well with that eclipse in their 11th, that they get to now sort of take the gas off the pedal, as it were, from a fear-based energy, and just sort of flow, water flow, because they have Pisces over their 10th house. So most Geminis are here to learn how to really just flow in their career and not have stress, not operate from a stress base.
Yeah.
Which
Nice.
they often do, because I know them, they do that. Okay.
All right, Cancer.
Okay, Cancer, woohoo. All right, Cancer, you guys, first of all, it's very exciting for Cancer, because you're having this, you have this Taurus, Jupiter, Uranus conjunction in your 11th house, which is lucky gains and notoriety or wins. And plus you've had the eclipses in your 10th house of career. So really good for career, really great, all of that, openings. And then you've got this thing, the Scorpio is in your 5th house. And most Cancer people I know are not in relationships. You'd be surprised. Most of them are not. Some are, but most Cancers have been single for a long time, because they've had Pluto in their 7th house of relationships, transforming their codependency issues and their fear-based attachments to relationships, and where they make their relationship their salvation.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Alan,
So that's,
yes, hello.
so that's fixed, or on the other way, on the other side of that. And so now we've got this full moon in your 5th house of relationships. So what else is there next for Cancer? Well, a relationship, a new relationship, or a new friendship comes in. The 5th house is collaborative. It's entrepreneurial. It's it is also pregnancy, creative. Yep. Creative outlet. Creative self-expression, or both. You could collaborate with a friend in a creative project. You could meet a relationship, have a new relationship, get pregnant. You could have a new relationship, friendship comes in. Well, hopefully you don't get pregnant that fast. Sorry, I didn't mean like right away, but
it's probably good you clarified that.
You know what? If you meet a person and you have a one-night stand, do not sleep with them, because you might get pregnant.
Yeah, or be careful.
Yeah, the 5th house is sort of like surface type relationships that sometimes don't last long, or just sort of, but it can be a relationship, friend turns into a full-on relationship. Yeah, so Scorpio for Cancer in their 5th house is kind of like a full moon. There is, well, if we think about the new moon, when was that new moon? It was in 2023.
Yeah, November 23rd, 2020. No, hold on. Let me go back to my notes. It was, I want to be accurate, November 13th, 2023.
Well, something again started their creativity, or a new person. You could have met a friend then. You could have made a new friend at that point. Now it turns into either a relationship, or it turns into a collaborative. But yeah, pretty much creative project. It's in your dharma. It's part of your destiny. Let's look at what else. I mean, I'm really kind of there. I think I've really, well, you've got Pluto in your eighth house, by the way. So the next sort of big work for Cancer is that eighth house Pluto transiting, which is to conquer your fears around financial stability, which is one of the reasons Cancer tend to be a little bit attachy to relationships, because those, you know, that's eighth and seventh houses are your relationship houses. So they're going to have you want to really relax and have faith in the financing of your life. Trust. Don't try not to be penny pinchy. Cancers can be like that. So in other words, have faith about money, trust, don't worry, create the flow, let it, trust in the divine and your abundance. You'll be fine. So I think that's it.
Okay, well, we have the wild hawkweed for Cancer. Again, this, we're kind of going back to the same color theme.
Interesting. Look, it's 2 flowers. And then the third flower is the creative project with the person.
Yeah, it could be. This, the wild hawkweed activates wholeness. The message is fall in love with yourself. And what strikes me about this is where you started the sharing about Cancer and about how they can be, they've not been in relationships for a while. They can be a little bit codependent. You know, to me, this is almost a nod that anyone who has Cancer in their chart in a significant way, they're ready for a relationship. That they've done the deep inner work of coming back to themselves. They know who they are and they're ready. It magnifies self-sufficiency, which I think goes back to what you were talking about with money, you know, feeling like you have the financial wherewithal and the resources to take care of yourself. So I really love the wild hawkweed for Cancer.
Yeah. And I can't help but noticing how one flower is receptive and the other one is, it's yin and yang.
Yeah, a bit.
You know what I mean? Like you don't see the outside of that flower, you just see the light penetrating, and the other one you see more of the red around it and the receiving of that. So it's like putting the 2 parts together, creating a whole, and then once you put the yin and the yang together, it creates an expansive third element. So that's exciting.
It is very exciting. Very exciting. I love that.
All right. So to Leo, another fire, you fire people.
Fire people.
Yeah, let's get to Leo. Come on. Okay, so you're going to have Scorpio in your 4th. Wow. Where's your Leo? Oh, it's your MC's Leo.
Yeah, and my son. So it's both.
Oh, well, there. So now we get this real estate property thing. I mean, family, full moon, living together. Let's look at the Aries eclipse was in your 9th house. And then we get this Mars and all of this in your 8th. Mars is in your 8th. Wow. So, you know, you're looking at joint resources. It's very possible that you joint resources, you sell a property, get money for a property, joint pull resources together to afford a property. This is a big fruition of something coming in your living situation, family situation. Full moon in the 4th. What else? You know, it's all about your heritage, your living and your roots. And so I would say this is a very grounding, rooted full moon where you become, where you have a new place to live that is stabilizing. Because one of the most important things when you study astrology that really is important for our MC, which is our destiny, which is our success or our career, is to have a stable 4th house. So this is a stabilizing 4th house, living situation, settling in a situation, or selling, becoming, and with Mars in that 8th house, you have a windfall of money coming in over selling a piece of property or investing in a piece of property. Let me just take one more look. Oh, wow. Well, you've got that Taurus Uranus in your 10th house. So career, you know, this is going to be related to that. Maybe, oh, let me just see. Wow. So, you know, it's sextiling your 8th house. You could have a windfall, a financial windfall. Absolutely. Coming in from some investment or joint resources, or through your spouse or through your partner, or through an investment, or through a property, selling at a property, the 4th house. You know, real estate has been a little bit on the repressive side lately. So I think that's going to change here with this transit. I think we're going to get it back to the real estate, because I think it's lower than it really reality. And I think we're going to go back to where it really is, which is at a stronger place. So yeah. And you know, a big shocking change in your career. You could suddenly become known. You've got that MC Leo. And plus
Well,
you've got your sun is in your 10th house, isn't it?
um,
Ah,
cusp, 9th and 10th. Yeah.
you're gonna suddenly become known, seen.
Yeah.
All
It,
this hard work you've been doing, you know, YouTube channels and stuff like that, they take a while. I mean, I've been, and as you can tell, we've been doing this a while, but you're gonna start seeing it.
yeah, I feel confident that that's
Gonna-
happening. It's, you know, it always is slower than, and most of us like, you know, we like to see things happen, typically happen rapidly. And it's been a little bit slow. And I've had Saturn in my 4th house for quite a long time now. So it's been slow going. So, but I'm excited about this. And
Yeah.
the message is abundantly clear though for Leos, and it might not be what you think, because I feel like what's been happening in general, and Leo in the 4th to me also is a reminder of the ancestral component and all of the work that our ancestors did in order for us to be where we are. And
And also some of the detriment that they did, some of the ancestral patterning that we're
yes,
breaking free from.
thank you
Like,
for thank you for mentioning that too.
yeah.
So the 2 cards came flying out of the deck, and what I find interesting is they both have a very similar message with a slightly different flavor. So we have the rhododendron, which activates compassion, and the message is be kind to yourself. And we have the rose, which activates tenderness, and the message is nurture yourself. So, you know, perhaps some Leos out there have not been taking care of themselves enough. They've been focused outwardly more.
Mhm.
Very, you know, Leos are very heart forward, heart centered. And so now it's time to really turn that back to yourself and take some time to be kind to yourself, be kind to others, continue to do that, but also be kind to yourself. And I also feel like this energy of not necessarily slow down, but just relax a little bit, just be with yourself, take care of yourself. I mean, that feels very abundantly clear with these 2 cards coming out for Leo. You know, and maybe that's part of that Taurus Uranus energy too, of it's almost like, you know, if this is going to activate something in Leo's career, maybe now's the time to do some things to prepare yourself for the crazy busy that might come, or all of the action that might need to be taken, where you can, you're feeling solid, you're feeling ready for whatever that is, and you've taken some time for yourself.
Yeah, well, I think those are very interesting because again, we've got the outward flower, which is, you know, all outward, and then we kind of have this inward thing. That other flower is more from the intuitive, the center. And so oftentimes we, especially with the MC there, this can be where we're in our headspace about something, and now we're flipping it and we're going and coming from an intuitive center, and then
Cool.
there's this big success.
Yeah. I love that. I think that's a great message for everybody
Yeah.
to, you know, to really start to focus in and then out. I know one of my intentions every morning when I make my cacao and I connect in with different energies is to ask for the connection and the balance between the inner and the outer in order
Yeah.
to express and share whatever my gift is to the world for that particular day, you know, whatever that is. And I feel like you know, making sure those 2 are in sync is so
Right.
important.
Yep. And so now it's like oftentimes because we're in a world that's very mental,
Yes.
that we go that way, but we're going to flip it, and so we go mental and then we act, and then we kind of have emotions around it or intuitively have some sort of confusion around it. But really, if we flip it, we go intuitive first and then act, and then use the mental to support the intuitive. Then you flip that, and it's taking aligned action to the
Yeah.
intuitive.
So intuitive action, mental.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. Interesting. Okay.
Okay.
Speaking of mental, 3rd house.
Mercury, the mercurial maniacs. I love Virgo. Very important to have Virgo around. Very important to always have Virgo in your life, because they'll always pick up things. A lot of people don't like it and they go, oh, they're so critical, but they're usually right. And it's good to know. Good to know these little detailed things that people like me that have no Virgo in their chart miss. All right, so let's take a look for Virgo. You guys have Scorpio in your third house. Wow, Virgo's communication. This is third house. I mean, they're ruled by Mercury. That Mercury is a third house energy, which is all about the mind and the thinking and the internal communication and the internal mind. And I would say Virgo. So one of the things that Virgo have to work on is a positive internal dialogue, not self-critical, not trying to be perfect. They kind of pull themselves apart. And so now in this, it's fear-based thinking that because they're so detailed, precise, oriented that if they miss something or they're not perfect, so then they're going to be negative about it. So this is a transformative, big transformation for Virgo in their mind space, in their thinking pattern and communication. And Mars is your Aries house, is your 8th house. So breaking through the fears of communicating a truth, breaking through the fear of not speaking who you truly are. And now they many Virgos could be very well coming into relationships right now because they have that eclipse in their 8th house. Joint resources is coming up. They've got Jupiter, Uranus in their 9th. They're going to have they could suddenly start traveling, or a complete change of belief, an awakening, a big awakening around the fear-based causes, the fear-based issues that have caused them to not communicate their truth. It's a form of manipulation to not speak the truth. It's a controlling thing. So it's like this fear that causes them to try to hold on to relationships through fear-based non-communications, not speaking their truth. We're going to get some kind of breaking through that, and breaking through a fear and speaking a truth, revealing a truth. Now, it doesn't have to be negative. It can be that you're in love with somebody and you've never told them. And you just are too afraid to tell them. And so now that's a form of control. And so we're releasing controlled, fear-based ways of operating in communication. Now, communication could come in. You could get communication from someone else, a relationship, something else is going on in your chart. Well, that Aries over the 8th. So there may be communication from a past relationship or a new relationship, and you start opening up the dialogue. Dialogue is opening up. Or the other thing, it could be a business, or that communication you co-create. You have Aries in your 8th house, you co-finance, or you come into an investment, you run a business together, you start a business together, you have financing, you pull your finances together, start a business. Go ahead.
I love what you were saying about that, Madeleine, and the talking about truth, finding that truth. And so the flower for Virgo is the pink lotus.
Love that.
And this has a lot to do with truth, but looking within to find the divine wisdom that you carry. And Virgos are, one of the archetypes is the maiden or the goddess or the virgin. And so it's, there is, when you think about a goddess, you feel like she's got it pretty together. Like she knows who she is. She carries herself in that way. So, maybe Virgos can think of themselves that way. And if you're a male, same thing. It's like finding that wisdom that you carry within. Spiritual insight and understanding can also come during this time. And Scorpio is very much about spiritual insight. It's a very deep, watery sign that allows you to get into some of those dark corners and crevices of your inner world in order to see the truth that exists there and be able to navigate your life from that place. It's not always easy, but it's definitely valuable. So, and then the lotus is one of those flowers that starts in the depths of the mud and the muck and the ick, and then finds its way to the surface to become this beautiful blossoming flower. So another piece of that to remember too for this period of time for Virgos.
Yeah, I mean, that flower really looks like the center of truth coming out through the center.
Yeah, it really does.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's beautiful. Yeah, it's one of my favorite ones. And I just popped over to YouTube to check out and see if anyone's commenting. And there was a compliment for your website from Jackie. She said it was beautiful. So I just
Thanks,
wanted to let you
Jackie.
know, Madeline, in case you don't see it. So yeah.
Ask questions. If anybody has questions, pop them out.
Yeah, I'm going over every now and then just to see what's what. So yeah, please do share if there's something that really resonates with you, or if there's a flower that you really love, or and just because these flowers are for specific signs, it doesn't mean they're not helpful to you. So if you're watching this and you feel a calling towards a flower, there's probably some essence of it that would be supportive for you right now. So trust your own instincts and intuition when it comes to that. Okay, Libra.
Okay, Libra. Well, you still got the South Node in your first house, so you really are becoming more of a non-Libra Libra. You're letting go of some of that getting along, going along to get along energy, and you've got that eclipse in your relationship house, so something very major is going on in your relationships. I know some Libras who are splitting up with people, or your person in your relationship, if it's established relationship, something really big and fabulous is happening to them. Now Scorpio for Libra is in your 12th house. Sorry, no, is your second house. So wow, I like that. So full moon in your second house, inheritance, you can, a talent, a gift, money, some way of, in other words, a way of income comes in, a new way of income, a new job could be a full moon in your second house, but also second house is talent, is creative abilities. So you could suddenly become that, if depending on your chart, what else is going on, you could discover that you're an artist or creative, and you now step more fully, boldly into, remember, it's a Mars energy, so we're taking bold initiatives, there's an opportunity opens up for a creative outlet that will be financially abundant, because the second house is talent that makes you money. It's not just talent that looks fun. And that's why people don't trust their talents. I tell them, if it's in your second house, you can make money at it, so trust. So we've got some good things happening in your second house, and maybe perhaps eliminating some financial fears. Like you get over, like, thank God, like something comes in, yay. You've been waiting for a financial sort of a release or income or improvement, and that happens. What else are we looking at? Your Mars house, and it could involve a partnership coming in that you're going to collaborate and income with. You have Taurus in your 8th house. Sun, windfall, joint resources, coming together with a partner, joining resources. You could invest together, or you're just pulling your resources together, or you become wealthy through a new partnership and they have money, which then maybe enables you to financially take some creative projects that may not bring money right away, but you can afford to develop a creative project. You could suddenly get income from an outside source, an investment into a creative project that you want to do. You could suddenly get financing for a creative project. This is the time this is bold, Aries energy. North Node is in Aries. Take bold initiatives, go for things, risk. This is a risk-taking energy. Take the risks. The more you risk, the more you're not afraid, the more abundant you're going to be in these energies. It really is about being bold and courageous and believing in yourself. And actually, a full moon in the second house will reveal if you have low self-esteem, or you don't believe in yourself, and there's some sort of, it will reveal. I had a full moon in my second house, and I saw how I was not valuing myself, and it was painful. I'm not going to kid. It was very painful, but I saw that I was not valuing myself. So somehow, you might see that, but then it makes you start valuing yourself. You stop seeing yourself in a smaller light, or comparing yourself, like thinking if you're too old for something, and you're not pretty enough or something. I'm just saying, you know, thinking of something. You then start, wow, going, whoa, I don't value myself, and I'm basing my self-value around my looks. And then that transforms, and you suddenly go, I don't care about that. And then suddenly you do feel more confident about the way you look, because you base your value on something more intrinsic, and then that shines through into better self-value. So then that shines through better in the way you look, because you just love yourself better. Didn't we just get a card about that? But anyway, so this full moon might reveal a painful, low self-esteem, self-image that you hold, which will be transformed, eradicated, gone. And but it might be painful, but the benefits of this is better income, some kind of creative project, perhaps working with a person. But again, with these liberation finances in your eighth house, you're liberated financially, very much so. Could be very, very good finances for Libra.
All right, Libra, the date palm
Oh my
flower.
God, is that relationship or what?
It's pretty clear. And the message is shift the paradigm. It activates freedom from extremes. This feels to me like Libra. I think of the scales, you know, the two sides of the scales that are looking to balance each other. This is what this feels like to me. It's a time to balance the scales. I mean, you think about that too, in terms of, it could be money as well, like balancing the scales in terms of money, in terms of relationships, in terms of how we value ourselves versus maybe giving too much of ourselves away to someone else. This is say that one more time.
Well, that's kind of the Libra thing that's changing about them with that South Node. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. And then it's this moment to moment awareness. So I guess that's a reminder for Libras too, is to just be aware from moment to moment, how you're feeling in relationship to another person, and how you might be able to bring yourself in balance if you're feeling a little off, you know, because with Libras, they can give too much to try to keep the peace in order to make themselves feel okay. And this might be an invitation for them to be aware in the moment and shift the extremes that they've had in their life when it comes to relationships and or money, and or their value as well. So the date palm flower for Libra.
Is my memory serving me correct, or was that the last flower we pulled for Libra last time? Because I think it is.
Ooh, I will look.
I think it is.
Yeah, let me see. I will
yeah.
Yeah, that would
Let
be
me know.
interesting if it is, because if it is, then it's an area that Librans really need to focus on. Let's see. All right, while you can talk while I
go check that out. Okay, so now we're going into Scorpio. So it's full moon in your first house, your identity. So funny. I just did a reading for a Scorpio. And she had this hat on, and I was like, I bet that's a new thing. I bet that's a new vibe for you, because that
is hilarious.
So when you have a full moon in your first house, your image completely changes. You change your haircut. I had a full moon at first house. I started wearing bangs, you know, or you start wearing a hat, you know, it's weird. And it's usually around your face, because the first house is your face, it's your head, and your body, but also really the head, because it's Mars. And so there's like a new identity. And it's a good thing, because you're breaking out of a fear. It's more authentic version of you. It's shall we say, communication for Scorpio too.
And just really quickly, Madeline, the date palm flower was for Leo, so you were close with the L.
So it wasn't for Libra, but they had another white flower, I think. But okay. I
just saw Leo first, so I didn't
okay. Because I remember when you did Libra last time, it was white flowers, and I said weddings, and I happen to know a Libra moon who's going to be getting married, so I just thought,
yeah.
But anyway, okay. So Scorpio have all of these Aries going on in your sixth house. You have so you're going to have wow, Scorpio, aren't you Scorpio? Okay.
Yes.
You're with Jupiter in your seventh house. All right. Something crazy big is going to happen to your spouse. Good potential windfall. Liberating.
Yay, Misha.
I know. Misha, it's time.
He'll be happy
I
to hear
want to know what happens. Okay. I want to know. So, and again, with this Uranus Jupiter conjunction thing, it can just be seeds that are sprouting and you don't see this big windfall yet, but you're on the path and it's going to work out because you know this transit is happening during this transit. So and the sun is in Taurus at that time. So it's like something happening in your relationships that's very liberating for you financially. For one person I was reading for, it was potentially that they could be supported by their spouse now for a while.
Well, and it's
And
interesting because his moon is also in Taurus. My moon is in Taurus. So there's a lot of that energy already. This Uranus Jupiter conjunction is happening almost exact to his sun in Capricorn. So
oh
this,
my God.
and I keep telling him that there's some, just hang tight, there's
Yes,
there's things that are
also it's
shifting and
trining his sun in his set in the 11th house. And the 11th house, he's got Capricorn there because he's Pisces rising. So this is great for him. Yes, he could suddenly get into a very positive path towards recognition, notoriety, fame, all of that. A
yeah.
lot of famous people have their sun in the 11th house.
Okay.
And
I'm
it's
going.
the recognition from your peers or a big win, a big windfall of some sort.
That's really, I think, what he's looking. He's looking, like most men, no offense, guys, but you guys mostly are out there looking for, show it to me, prove it to me, let me see it. So until you actually see it or experience it and there's proof, they're like, I don't
Well,
know.
this might be the proof.
Yes. And selfishly, I want to be there to, in my head, I won't say it out loud, but in my head to be like, I knew it. I knew it.
Yep.
I knew it.
Yep, he's going to be saying, you were right.
All right, so we digress. We're back to Scorpio.
Yeah. What else can we say? So yeah, I mean, great, great. As it sounds so silly to say that, but I mean, this could be very financial because Scorpio is ruled by Pluto, and Pluto is squaring this, full moon. So we've got some kind of radical shift and change in financial. So it's a potential windfall. Like for me, I had the square from this to my 8th house, which is Pluto, which really was a windfall. So this is really good. And it again, being the Scorpio energy, you may face a fear. It's emotional. There could be conflict in your relationship because it's opposition to your relationship. So like let's say something happens that's really big and exciting. But there's a fear connected to it. And I don't know. And there's a fear and you get in an argument with them and you go, but you can do it. No, I don't think I can do it. Yes, you can. I
Have
don't
you been
know.
eavesdropping? Have you been hanging out and like plant a little bug in my house?
Yeah. So there's an emotional component to it all. It's intense. Intensity is always involved when Pluto and Scorpio are involved. So this is going to be interesting. I want to know what happens.
I will keep you posted,
Yeah.
privately, and I'm sure here as well.
Yeah.
But I love this card. I mean, this pretty much sums up everything you were saying before. Again, we have that focus, like in the center, that coming in and then expanding out. It activates optimism, and the message is expect the best. I mean, that pretty much is what you were saying. So
I know I was kind of lost for words. I was just going to say it's great.
yes. But I guess the one part of this, though, that I would like to share with any Scorpios out there is that it is, and it might also be very uncomfortable and feel emotionally challenging. So just know when you're in maybe the swirl of that there is this beautiful opportunity on the other side that's waiting for you. Yeah.
Yes. Yes. Great.
Well,
I mean, I hate this. I think that's just the word that keeps coming through. I mean, I just really do like that. It's like, but again, with that square to Pluto, just be prepared for a fear to pop up, which Scorpio tend to have, in their past life traumatic psyche body is there in the Scorpio. So that'll get purged. Another big layer of that. So that'll be good.
and the other thing too is that may already be happening to people. So if you feel like, because that actually, I had a situation just yesterday and the day before of that, like some very deep karmic other lifetime fears around speaking and death. I mean, that's pretty big, especially considering what I do for a living. So if I
That's
can't
right.
speak or express myself or talk because I'm fearful that it will hurt me in some way, or I could potentially lose my life or my career or my livelihood,
Mhm.
that's a pretty significant fear
Yep.
to
It's what I
overcome.
call bone rattling.
Yes. Yes, it is bone rattling.
Yep.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Okay. So what about those Sagittarius and their, this is 12
Yes,
house for them,
you
which is
guys
also,
are ruled by Jupiter. So this is going to be interesting for Sagittarians. Awesome for Sagittarians because they're ruled by Jupiter. And, their life is going to radically change. Um, but in a positive, and of course, I mean, again, there may be a crisis occurring, but it'll be fine. You've got Aries, you've had the eclipse in your fifth house, which is giving a creative project. I'm sun sign Saggy, so this is good. A relationship from that eclipse, very much bringing collaboratives, creative projects and relationships with the Aries eclipse there, or pregnancies, or that third creative element, that thing that comes out of out of your relationship, creative project comes out through the union of two people. And we have Uranus and Jupiter in your sixth house of work and disease or stress day to day. So possibly a relief of that, all those things, sixth house, like breaking free from stress, fears, and maybe a disease, if you're ill around something. But this Scorpio energy is hitting your where the heck is Scorpio? Oh, you're a Scorpio for Sagittarius is in your 12th house. So you could travel, you could move to the country, you could Scorpio in your 12th house can be past life relationship coming in, your divine mate, past life relationship, a karmic revelation of a fear, a transformation of a deep trauma fear that has been rattling your bones is now released because that's going into your sixth house. So you could have this sort of spiritual evolutional rapid growth that puts you in a state of tremendous faith around your work. Eliminating fears is a big one for you this lunation. So what else can we look at there? A death and rebirth around old. So it's kind of like an old way of living that was trauma, fear-based is shed, is released. A skin is released. There's a death, the death card, transformation, restored, rebirth. So it's like fresh rebirth, a new birth in clearing, which now you operate from a place of cleared karma. So so in other words, the fear-based, stress-based, motivating drive is watered down, is soothed, is healed. Is the four of swords in tarot, like the peace card. So we're looking at being completely relieved of some sort of stress base, which reminds me, I want to look at this for a minute. This is happening at 4 degrees Scorpio. So wow, it is a 4 degrees Scorpio, is the 5 of Cups. So yeah, so it's almost like I'm going to say programming, because sometimes karma plays out in our programming. And in other words, we're anticipating a future based on our past thinking our past. So we're thinking it's in the future. So we're clearing all of that and we're opening up to a whole new future that isn't what we could think of. It's like the karma is cleared around the fear that was blocking, which is kind of the theme of this whole thing. So I would say for Sagittarius, it's really positive because you have that creative eclipse in that 5th house, which I think is really opening up career and work and eliminating fears of survival on a very deep level. What'd you get?
Okay, so this is one of the cards that it's set up a little differently than the cards in my deck. This was one that a flower from the Flower Evolution program of at Lotus Way, which is the deck that I am using, and it's the products that I use. And this one was one that was in their program where you worked with it for a month to see what the effects were. And this particular month was when I was traveling. So I didn't take it with me because I wanted to be fully present with the experience. But what I find so interesting is that when I was reading the little write-up on the back as you were talking, it talks about, and you were talking about how, with this 12th house too, there's this connection with karma. There's the connection with other lifetimes, and this it feels like almost like a completion time, like it feels like a pivot is about ready to happen for Sag, and some people may be coming back around. So this dissolves fear of attack or malevolent people. And my first thought when I read that was the fear of being hurt again by someone, the fear of attack by someone from the past. There could be somebody that you were connected to at one point and they caused you a great deal of pain, but now that energy is shifted. This is also taking a stand energy. So I also feel like that is standing in your own power. You've learned all these things to this point. Now what are you doing differently if put in the similar situation with somebody? And then the other piece that really jumped out at me, and I think it's for somebody that's listening, is that it turns a lustful energy or this like feeling into a spiritual type of love. It's a transformational energetic. So this is called Society Garlic, by the way. I don't think I said what it was. So Society Garlic. Thoughts, Madeline?
Well, I forgot to add the whole sexual element to the Scorpio thing.
Well, here it is.
So that's
flower
it,
form.
be a sex life opening up in all of these people's reports that I've given so far, especially the Virgo one, because Scorpio's over there. No, well, whoever had something over their 8th house. Anyway, that was Virgo, but they've got Aries over their 8th house. So they, but Scorpio is also sex, tantric or higher, or could be superficial, lusty sex, but mostly deep soul connected.
Yeah.
That's tantric. But that's another element everyone should throw in there in the mix, okay? But yeah, so Sagittarians, that card, do you mind showing that card again one more time? So
yeah.
You're gonna laugh. So the 6th house is the busy house. Busy. Does that card look busy to you or what?
It looks pretty darn busy. There's a lot happening.
And I forgot to mention that. So the card brought that in.
Yeah.
Prepare you guys to be very busy. And you know what? I've been extremely busy. It's crazy. Not a things I've had to do lately.
All right. So Capricorn, speaking of busy and hard workers, there you go.
Yes. Well, Capricorn are really in for some good luck with this Uranus Jupiter conjunction, because it trines you. So there's a potential Earth trine. I have actually quite a few planets. I have my Mercury being trined by this. So this could be good news, very good news. So I have a few planets in Capricorn. So yes, so we're looking at a lovely Uranus Jupiter conjunction for you guys, and abundant. And but it also, what's crazy is this is happening in your 5th house. Jupiter Uranus conjunction, not the full moon, but I'll talk about that. So sudden, I have a Capricorn. My ex-husband is Capricorn rising, and he's been working on a creative project with a band, and I bet that thing's going to take off. It's going to take off and be really good money, because it's a really cool band. And so I say for you guys, Scorpio, whoa, Scorpio is your 11th house. Really good for Capricorn. Isn't Misha's Capricorn sun? Wow.
Yeah, he is.
This is crazy great for Capricorns. Oh my gosh. You guys are going to have this hitting your 11th house, full moon, recognition, Scorpio, riches, the money. I mean, this is definitely windfall, good luck. I mean, having Aries in your 5th, Taurus is in your 5th, Aries in your 4th. Again, that's hitting your Aries house, your 4th house. So it's like a living situation, opens up here, you probably suddenly have a lot of more money. I know this Capricorn, he's been in a roommate situation. He's been trying, my ex-husband, he's living with, I know he's going to probably move into it. You'll be able to afford to move into a really nice house. I mean, this is just like financial. I mean, you know, Uranus and Jupiter in the luck of in the fifth house, which is a house of like fun and joy and play. And I mean, you know, how could this be any better? You know, and then you've got this Pisces in your third house. I mean, you know, I see Capricorn busting through. Busting through a big, you know, psyche, body, fear base that's been holding them back, because a lot of Capricorns are not, I want to say brave enough. That's the right word. Because my ex-husband would always work in TV or movies, and he didn't like that work, but it made him feel financially secure. But he was always really wanted to be a music producer for music bands. And now all of a sudden that's totally happening for him. He's been on this project, and we got divorced. And so he didn't have to worry about finance, and the kids grew up. So his responsibility for the family went away. And now he's able to focus. So the Capricorns are going to do better when they focus on creative projects and they don't walk that financially secure, stable path. They're not happy. So this is like a big burst of creative excitement on a creative project. And I mean, they're going to have the funding for it. The money's there. The money's going to be there with that Pluto there, with the whole deal, with that Jupiter Uranus trining their ascendant.
I want to add one thing about that
Almost
too,
lost for words, actually.
because of the Jupiter Uranus, though, the money is likely going to come in a surprise pathway. So Capricorns like to know, okay, it seems for them, it's like, well, I'll do this and then I get that, or I follow that and then I get this, or the money will come this way because that's how it usually does, or that's how I can see. But I think that one of the key elements, and I've got a couple of Capricorns, and one of them, I know you know who I'm talking about, and I love you, is that, and it's not my husband, but I do love him, is that it's that Uranus energy is the surprise element of a pathway that opens that you don't expect. And when you are living true to your Jupiter, you talk about this all the time, Madeline, when you're living true to your Jupiter and you're lined up with what lights your soul on fire, the things that you are passionate about, the things that feel expansive, that is when everything just boop, 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 clicks into place. And so as a reminder to Capricorns, it's be open to the opportunities that might present that might not be what you think they are, but feel really good. They can feel good and they can feel scary at the same time. But taking that leap of faith and trusting.
I would think this is all going to feel a little scary to everyone. This full moon.
Yeah. So the flower is the Icelandic lichen, or lichen. I don't know how you say that exactly, but what this strikes me is, you can see it's a very low to the ground type of flower. So it almost reminds me of that earth energy of Capricorn in a way. It's like close to the earth and feeling very grounded. It dissolves fatigue, fragility, and the lack of follow through. Now, Capricorns typically aren't ones who lack the follow through on most things, but they might lack the follow through on things that they don't feel are going to move them ahead, or don't feel like they're going to have the windfall from that they desire. So I think this is just a reminder of taking that leap. It amplifies tenaciousness. So get tenacious about the things you want, really go for it and ground yourself, root it into actionable steps, root it into things that are tangible, that will lead you to the next step, into the next step, into the next step. So,
Interesting.
Feels very cool.
Yeah. And also that looks like an audience to me.
It could. Yeah.
A lot of people.
Yes.
And the fifth house is the house of Leo, which is the house of lighting other people up. Shedding, igniting other people. An audience, igniting a bunch of people.
Light them up.
All right. And that Uranus Jupiter conjunction is in the fifth house, which is the house of the stage, celebrity, performing. So they suddenly become famous and well known. That could happen to my ex-husband because of this band. Or
Yeah,
your Capricorn people.
yeah, it really could. I could see that for a couple of them actually.
Yep.
Maybe more than two. I mean, my son too. He's also a Capricorn, so this could be
Oh.
something pretty big for him also. Okay, Aquarius. This might be
Okay,
a
so
big thing for
Aquarius.
their career.
Yeah, well, Pluto in your first house, and so you've got Pluto, the planet that's ruling this full moon in your first house. So for sure, some sort of like something is coming in here. Could be relationship, could be real true love, like your soul, your twin flame type of deal. Or you are shed of a rapid, like, where's Scorpio falling in your house? Hang on a minute.
10th.
10th. I've got Aquarius, so we have Capricorn over their 12th, Saggy, Scorpio over their 10th. Okay, so we're looking at, see, now here's what's interesting for the Aquarians. I think they're all going to wake up, because I think the Aquarians, as we've talked to before, they're leading us into the new era. They're the most reluctant ones of taking us there, because when you're there's reluctance when you have to lead. So I think this is a transformational thing where Pluto, and right where Jupiter and Saturn can join in your first house there in 2020. You're now removed of the fear that's stopping you from stepping into your calling, your dharma. You're bringing, Aquarians are bringing us into the new earth. So Aquarians are going through a big transformation. They are going into their power. They're having a total and utter rebirth. And the first house is our ego too. So it's like they're understanding how to work with the ego, because when you're Aquarius, you're out in a lot of people. It's a very sort of public stage. So the ego is like, I don't know, I'm not, I'm a little weird, or you might. So now that's going to die. So now we've got these Aquarians stepping forward, and I'm seeing this on YouTube, really powerful people stepping forward, and they're some of the strongest presenters of YouTube stuff. They're going to do. If you were Aquarius and you have any interest in starting a YouTube channel or anything like that, this is a good time to do it. In fact, taking risks in these energies are going to be very favorable for everybody. But with this Scorpio over your 10th house, I mean, this is a career, a new opening, a new opportunity, pay raise. If it could be a whole new career. It's part of this Mars ruled eclipse. So a promotion or a better upgrade in your work. This is all about your career. Also, you might suddenly become better status. You might get married. You might, because if sometimes the 10th house is your status. So you change status, you become Mr. or Mrs. But also you could get notoriety. You get an upgrade in your career. You have new responsibilities. And it could be a career you were afraid to do. You've always been afraid to do it, like this Aquarian thing where they're not really. Some of them are. So the Aquarius is going through transformation from being kind of hiding to not hiding. That's kind of the main energy, because the 10th house is being seen. And Aquarius, that's the 11th house, which is again a celebrity type of a house where you're recognized by your peers. So, and let's look at their Uranus Jupiter thing, which is in your 4th house. So suddenly moving, suddenly changing location, something happening in your property, real estate, maybe sells or goes up in value and you sell it, or you dump some property, or you buy a property or invest in something that liberates you so you can take a new career. Let's take a look.
This also feels like for Aquarians too, it's like if they've been having a tough time, and life just isn't feeling like it's lining up. They feel like they keep getting blocked and stopped and thwarted. It feels to me like there may be some misalignment or a misinterpretation of some of the energies that they're experiencing, and it's important for them right now to to get back into their Aquarian kind of energetic. So be a little bit more social, get out there and put yourself out there, do the things that make you an Aquarius versus the opposite that they might have been doing that doesn't feel like it's working because you're working. It's almost like they're working against themselves in a way. They're not doing the things that really are lined up with who they are. And right now is a prime opportunity for any Aquarians out there who would like a bolstering of their career to really get back in tune and in touch with what it means to be Aquarius, what that means to you.
Yes. So like the Aquarians are the water bearers. They're not necessarily, they're not water, obviously, but they bring the knowledge and they bring the water people together. They galvanize people, they bring people together. They're like amazing at social networking and all that stuff. And so what happens for Aquarians is it really is the energy of sudden out of the blue fame and recognition, because what happens is and a lot of celebrities, you'll see this in their chart, is that they get over themselves. They get over, they think everyone's looking at them and thinking that they're not perfect or something. They suddenly let their because they're always going to be eccentrics. Aquariuses are eccentric. They're the oddballs. So they're always going to have this sort of eccentric liberation to liberate their true eccentric selves. They let their weirdness shine. They can sometimes dress really kind of like I'll tell you who's a really typical Aquarius. I don't know if his son is Aquarius, but is Brand. What's his name? Russell Brand.
Oh, right.
Where he dresses his own way and they do their own thing and they come out bold. It's their own kind of unique, maybe weird, but they embrace it. When they embrace that's about them, what is odd and weird and different, and they just make that, they underscore it. They know that that's who they're here to be, because that makes them entertaining.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
but but it takes a transformation for them to not be afraid of that part of them, to show it out. So we're going to see that with Aquarians, because it's time, especially with Pluto there, right on their ascendant.
Well, the card that came out for Aquarians is Euphrasia. Wow. And this activates intuition. The messages be decisive, and it magnifies trusting yourself. And that feels like really the key element or the key message for Aquarians. Trust in yourself. I don't even want to elaborate on it. I just feel like just take that in, just anchor that in.
Mm-hmm. Aquarians have Sagittarius over their 11th house. So, this Jupiter conjunction Uranus is very lucky for them, very good luck. And I think the universe is handing Aquarians extra because they're supposed to take us into the new earth.
Yeah.
So,
and I just
lead the way, Aquarians will follow.
And the one other piece of it too that I'm just noticing with Aquarians that I know is the person that thwarts their forward momentum the most is themselves. Mm-hmm. The thoughts that they think, the limited beliefs that they grasp onto are the things that really keep them stuck or keep them from moving forward in the way that they are totally capable and able to do. And so if they can take their Aquarian mind and continue to expand it, continue to open themselves up to the blessings that exist and trust themselves, I feel like it's like the
well, yeah, because it's very, very well said, because they're ruled by Saturn. So they would be oppressed, self-oppressed, mm-hmm. until they know, or there's some sort of ego security feeling that it can be sometimes they just bust out of themselves and they get over it, or an opportunity comes in that really helps them.
Yeah.
Feel
that way. Yeah. Okay. Pisces.
Okay. So are we on Pisces already? Wow.
We
okay.
are.
Pisces. Okay. So we've got this Scorpio for you guys is your boopity boop 9th house, right? Or 8th?
9th. You were right.
Yeah, I'm feeling so dyslexic today. All right. 8th in the 9th house. Pisces could either travel, that's a standard thing for the ninth house, an opportunity to learn, go through some sort of a course, take on a course, or teach. These are all ninth house things. But full moon there, you're going to like this, is a mind opening blow up, like boom, like wow, okay, I see something, I get it, big awakening, spiritual awakening, powerful, overcoming a fear of spirituality, or a lot of times when people are super skeptical of all this, there's some sort of a fear beneath it. So it's like breaking through some sort of finding spirituality that heals a fear, finding faith that heals a fear that's blocking the Pisces, because Pisces can walk the path of poverty, and they can for long periods of times, and they can be very doomsday. We've talked about this. So now we're getting sort of faith restorative faith. It could be a crisis, an existential crisis, which then gets stored into a new faith. It's almost like I saw this happen. Some astrologers have been going through existential crisis because that woman who committed suicide, or that crazy kind of happened on the eclipse. She was an astrologer, and she like murdered her wife, husband, and children. It was nutty.
What?
Yeah,
Oh,
it's her name was Lipstick Mystic or something like that. Yeah, it was quite intense experience, very Scorpio type of vibe. And she committed suicide on the eclipse because she had very powerful astrology anxiety. So people have been sort of downing and putting astrology down as some sort of bad thing that was behind some of this. But really what it was a spiritual existential crisis that obviously she had other stuff going on. It's not astrology, because you can get very astrologically triggered and feared by some of these transits. But what happens is when you go through that, and I think this happened to a lot of astrologers when they went through a little bit of a existential crisis around it, like, wow, is this astrology bad? Should we not believe in it? Is it just really going to is it really just kind of freaks us out? Like, should we just not know anything, But then what happens is you get restored to an even higher faith in it, because you see that it was not having faith behind the astrology that causes the problem. In other words, to not see the positive, to not see the divine outcome in it all, can throw you into a state of anxiety. So we're seeing that kind of thing with the ninth house full moon in Scorpio, where you're breaking through a spiritual existential crisis, and you open up your mind, you get it. You see that we're supposed to not be in our fear-based headspace, and because the ninth house can be rigid thinking, right? It's like non-open-minded, which is shadow aspect. So now we're breaking through some sort of rigid thinking, and we're having a higher divine spiritual understanding, which is faith, because the ninth house is about faith. It's Jupiter. So we're now stepping out of some sort of fear of the spirituality and opening it up and seeing and having faith in it. It's like an awakening out of a fear around spirituality, or some sort of fear blockage connected to it, which is all in rigid thinking. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. I feel like I want to add one little tidbit to this, which may seem antithetical considering that I do these cosmic chats with you every 2 weeks. But, I feel like all of these spiritual sciences that I work in every single day for myself and for my clients they're just little hints at life, and that we really do have a lot more influence over how our life plays out. Like, just because the stars or a chart or something shows us something, there's so many different variations of how that energy may show up. So, it definitely sounds like there was maybe some sort of instability within this one particular woman that went into such a place of fear around something she saw in astrology. Because, I know that sometimes I'll look at a chart, and I'm definitely no expert by any stretch of the imagination. Just, I feel like when I look at things, I get a lot of intuitive knowing, and then I'll talk to Madeleine or other people that will corroborate that. But the way that energy shows up, the story that unfolds, can be very different than the picture that's shown on that chart. And however, the themes might be the same. But I think it's like if we give too much of our power away to astrology or to human design or to an intuitive or to whatever, that we're losing out on the creation power that we each carry within ourselves. And I feel like the cosmic chats that we do are such a beautiful place of empowerment for people, for them to recognize the power that they have within themselves and then use their own creative life force to create a life of their choosing. There are some difficult and challenging energies that we all face, but it's how do we navigate them and what do we do with them? And so
Yeah.
I feel like too, with this Pisces ninth house energy you were talking about, this papaya flower, which, I mean, if you look at it, it looks very sweet and gentle, is a great counterpoint to some of the intensity that we were just talking about. And this is an energy of receptivity. So allow yourself to be receptive to the energies that are there, and that the gentleness can be powerful, and that collaboration
Yeah.
with other people or with the cosmos or within your own energetic body is a really magical place to be. So I really love the papaya flower on so many levels, just based on, all that you just shared and the transmission of information and energy that just came through. So
Yeah. Well, what I like to say about all this is tarot and oracles or astrology is that these are all tools,
yeah,
and even like religion and Christianity and all these are just tools. They're just and for everybody to sort of think one is bad, or it's like you can't say a hammer is bad. If somebody, you can kill someone with a hammer and then it's
yeah,
bad, but you can build a house with a hammer. That's good. So these are
yes,
and you don't have to put judgment on them. They're either they work for you or you don't find a connection with them that helps you. Like none of it is really, well, some of it can be bad, but on the whole, the intention behind it is what matters.
yeah,
And that's with it all,
yeah.
So
I love that. That's such a great point too, about they're all tools. And
mhm.
and if you find that they're helpful and supportive and they offer you some peace, I say that, how can that be a negative in your life? And
Yeah.
I mean, I love my cards. I think they are so much fun.
Yep.
I feel like and I have so many decks and I find them all equally powerful and beautiful and magical. I have some favorites, but they're really
No,
helpful.
the amount of people that think tarot is bad and evil, it just blows my mind, because I'm telling you, I was with Dan the other day, and we were at his sister's house and she lost her dog. And we were like, oh shoot, they pulled a card on it. I had my card. So I pulled a card. I got the Chariot card. And I thought, well, somewhere in a car, something to do with a car. Anyway, we were walking up and down the block. We couldn't find the dog. And then I had to leave. And then I got a text saying he was in the garage.
Where a car would be.
Yeah. And I'm like going, why didn't I think that? I mean, I had intuitively, I kept saying, check the garage, but I didn't listen to that. I kept thinking, no, we got to go find the dog. But anyway, I've only ever had powerfully positive, absolutely powerful, positive
Yeah.
experiences. So, and also it's in my chart that I have very, very positive sextiles and trines to my Mercury and my Neptune. So it shows from an astrological point of view that it is very positive. I don't have negative stuff coming through.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it's what really works for the individual, and to keep an open mind. We're
Yeah.
here to explore it all.
Yeah. Exactly.
So
And the other thing too, just as a footnote with cards, because with cards, the cards are going to reveal the energy that is within you. So if you are frantic and you are agitated or are upset and you're not in a state of centeredness or at least some semblance of balance, you're going to get a reading from those cards that reflect that energy. So for anyone who's, I don't know, I just feel like there's somebody watching this that they're like, well, I'm just going to use my cards to answer these questions for me. Make sure that maybe you do a meditation beforehand and you literally visualize any any discordant energy being flushed out of you. Connect with the light above you, connect with the earth below you, find a place of center, and then ask a very specific question about what might be your
I've
query.
been doing, yeah, I picked up my first tarot deck in 2007, and it has never, ever, not one thing bad. No,
Yeah.
not. Here comes Dan. Anyway,
Yeah. So anyway,
Listen,
that is the scoop
oh, what's
of
that? Oh, so I just had one last thing to say about that green card, which I thought was really beautiful. One,
yes.
that green color really you know, Jupiter rules Pisces, so that's a very abundant color, that earth color, the green. And so that's really abundant. I wanted to add that in for Pisces, but also that's the energy of grace. So it's almost like the Pisces are relaxing about their rigid-minded and becoming more graceful about spirituality or other thoughts or other people's thinkings and things like that. So
Oh,
anyway, I just throw that in.
I love that feeling. I mean, just when you said grace, it felt like Pisces could just use a little of that feeling of grace. I mean, all of us could, honestly, but
You want to say
yeah.
hi to Jane?
I
I didn't mean to.
don't know if he's going to want to when we're still live.
Oh my gosh, Dan, you're always no, yeah, we're live, but come say hi. Look at he's always wearing he's always wearing
Hello,
fatigue.
camo. Camo.
Camo.
You can't see the whole body.
Yeah, he's camouflaging
Camouflaging himself. He's like, oh wait, no, not you can't see all of me.
Thank you. I had a dapper day. I'm my brown pants.
Dapper Dan.
So I'm ready, Amalia.
Pardon?
How are you?
I'm awesome. I'm
Good.
awesome. Don't go anywhere. We're gonna wrap up so we can hang out and
Oh,
talk.
you're still going.
No, we're saying bye now.
Oh.
You're live, you're involved, but
Okay.
we'll say bye.
Yeah.
And you can
Well, don't say bye and then call me back when you're
All
bye
right.
bye.
Okay.
shy. There's a little bit of shyness. You know.
He's so shy. He's so shy.
All right.
Actually,
We had to get over
Dan,
that.
He's not.
We're gonna get him over that.
He's not really shy.
I'm kidding.
He's not.
See you.
Anyway. All right, everyone. Well, thank you,
Thanks, everybody,
Madeline,
for
as
watching.
always. Thank you all for those who stayed with us. Let me see. Let's see.
Can anybody stay
Got-
this whole thing?
Okay, we got a couple of comments, but I'm not sure. We'll go back to them another time.
Okay.
So thank you very much, Madeline, for being here. Thank you for all of you who
Thank you, Amalia.
are hanging with us and
Give us like. We need likes.
yes, likes,
Subscribe.
follows, comments, all that good stuff. And yeah, enjoy the Scorpio full moon. Let us know how it goes. And we'll be back in a couple of weeks. Stay tuned to social media. We'll let you know the when. The where will be here, but we'll let you know when. And if you
What is
need
it, the new moon? We have a Taurus new moon, right? Taurus new moon next?
yes, Taurus new moon. Yeah, so it'll be a couple of weeks. We'll get back here. And then if you want to reach out to Madeline or myself, all of our information will be below. And we will see you here soon. Thanks, everybody.
Bye. Again, I forgot.